Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Family Podcast with your two favorite brothers. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And today we're talking about body count. Run the intro. So, Twitter has been reigniting the conversation. Does a person's body count matter?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think it's appropriate to ask a person's body count?
I think it depends what kind of person you are. Honestly, like I know that's a kind of fancy answer, innit? But there's some people who can't handle it, and I think for the people who can't handle it, just don't ask. Yeah. But I think some people are like able to take the information, and then it just kind of goes into a void. It didn't matter that they told you that information, and I think for those people, it's fine to
But
ask.
do you think there are some people who would be okay with a certain number who would just be like, with another number?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can actually be blown away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? By the
Yeah.
by the number in it. So, and I think especially for a lot of males, who seem to have this ideal of a chaste woman, it's probably better you don't ask. Do you know what I'm saying? Unless you're a guy who can just be like, okay, I hear it. It is what it is. Boom, move on. 'Cause I can say that, there are some numbers in it. Like, there are some numbers, and you got to think about it like this, yeah. If somebody's had, like 26 years living, for example, yeah, and they give you a number of 15 for 26 years living, that's actually not that bad if you do the maths. But obviously, you take out the fact that they probably weren't cheating at like 6 years old, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? But it's actually not too bad if you're doing the maths. But it sounds bad. Do you know, if we were being honest, like, bro, if a girl told you she whacked like 17 different things, what are you saying? Yeah, there we go. So,
No, wait, 17?
yeah. She has 17 bodies. See?
At my age?
No, at 20, I don't know, 27, 28. See? The fact that we have to ponder on it,
Yeah.
means that there's a bit of an issue, isn't it? This is what I'm saying. Like, certain people just don't ask. It's easier that way. Because if I got to ponder on whether I think the amount is too much, I probably think it's too much.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Unless it was observable. So if you were walking in the street and everyone was like,
Yeah.
yo,
Yikes.
Michaela, Michaela, remember me?
Yikes.
So
bro.
that's where it becomes a problem. But most of the time, most people enter a relationship. They have conversations. And a lot of the time, we skirt around the really sensitive things because we're trying to get that person to like us.
Yeah.
And so it takes a very assertive person to sit down and be like, yo, what's your body count? Because immediately it could be confrontational.
Yeah.
So most people don't actually ask. So I was looking at a website called World Population Review.
Yeah.
They do lots of stats to do with the population.
Yeah.
And so they found that the average for the UK was 9
Okay.
lifetime partners. However, I have heard some studies say 6. So between 6 and 9.
What is the average?
Yeah, lifetime.
Okay.
In the USA, it's between 10 and 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were struggling on 15.
You said 17.
Oh, 17. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah 17.
So, okay, we're going to do a top 10 rundown.
Yeah, all right, cool.
What do you think is the first?
The first what?
The first, like, in terms of the highest body count, what country do you think is the
highest body count?
Yeah.
So a country they're just literally just handing it out. See, in my head, yeah, I would say America, yeah, but I don't think that's true, innit? So I'm gonna say maybe like like Romania?
Okay. Oh, Andrew Tate land, yeah?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So the highest is Turkey.
Woo.
Do you know what's crazy? I've always felt like it would be Brazil.
Okay, yeah.
Because,
I can see why you say that.
Yeah, Brazil seems like a very sex positive place.
Do you know what I should have said?
Where?
Holland. I would have thought, yeah, somewhere. I would have thought.
It's true, and you would think that the
Netherlands would be high.
Them sex positive places, yeah. Okay, so let me give you the rundown, yeah? So Turkey is around 14. Like,
okay.
And remember, we're talking about lifetime partners average, yeah?
Yeah.
So 14. Then Australia, 13.
Okay.
We all know that. We know who Angela White is. Let me say no more.
Yeah.
No, that's not fair because one person shouldn't be representative
the whole
of
country.
An entire
Yeah,
country.
generalizable.
That's
the whole
crazy.
Country.
And then next door neighbors, New Zealand, which are with around 13. So they're both 13, but it's like decimals. I'm not getting into that. Iceland is next with 13.
Oh, I never thought that.
Yeah, I do because I feel like the Scandinavian countries are more sex positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. But they because they come from like Viking era, isn't it?
But and just their progressiveness. They're some of the most progressive places on the planet.
Fair enough.
So you talk about things like introducing 4-day work weeks and stuff. They're very progressive.
Yeah.
And then South Africa, which is 5th, with around 12 partners. Finland, again, that sort of area.
We must be bottom or something.
12. Norway is 12 again. Italy, which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Given their closeness to Catholicism. So
yeah, but they dress well.
Yeah.
And they like their sense. You can't
Yeah,
match the debonair man, you know what I'm saying? Like.
It's true. So there sits around 11 lifetime partners. Then Sweden,
okay,
with 11 as well, and then Switzerland, which is 11. I never thought Switzerland people would be up here.
Yeah,
because they seem very.
Sorry, wait. What was our average?
9.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. No, joking.
Listen, yeah, it's mad.
I played.
You got the rainy weather. You got the inflation thing going on. Us man come out of Europe. I'm not trying to make this a political podcast, but look at all of it, and then you got less partners. It's mad.
And you think about how many people are unhappy in the UK.
Yeah, because the number's not high.
Yeah, the number's not high. As you said, inflation, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yo, we are getting done a disservice.
So did any of them shock you?
Yeah, a few of them. Do you
remember which ones?
Even Scandinavia, kind of.
Oh, like Iceland, Finland.
Yeah,
but
Finland,
see how they're all.
A
lot of them are in there. Iceland, Finland, and Norway, all in there. So, yeah.
I get it though. Like, if you're trying to find a lifetime partner, the easiest way to do it is to do it quite quickly. Like, I think that I'm almost like a bit robotic with the process in it because I have so many ideals in it. I have so many values that I want to uphold, and I want to do it properly. I want to do it the Don way. Do you know what I'm saying? And all of that stuff in it. So I think with all of that, it makes my process longer. But let's think about it. Yeah, if I was just dating, I was getting to know people. It's likely that I'd possibly end up sleeping with some of them. Yeah, if we're gonna be honest. Yeah.
Just that Zara charm.
Nah,
Mr. Zara. I noticed that fell out of some episodes. Since we came back, the Mr. Zara tag has been faded away.
You're on me.
But It's here again.
Oh gosh. So like, yeah, it's kind of like it's natural that you wouldn't it. Like let's face it. If you're in like a 4-year relationship in this day and age, yeah, come on, bro. Anyway, and I feel like to me, it's kind of like I could speed up the process, innit? Like if I really want to, I can speed up the process. I jump on Tinder, I jump on all these social networks, I go through, I'm logical about it. I'm like, I'm gonna do this for a certain amount of time. I run through, and then I say, okay, this is what I'm getting. This is the one that I feel is suitable, and I just go head on in it. Because that would be the normal thing to do, right? But yeah. But since we're on 6s and 8s as our national average, do you know what I'm saying? Like you can tell that we draw out, like we have long drawn out processes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's the dating process. You date, you might be sleeping with somebody, then you break up, then you got to go through the whole sort of process again.
No, see, mine's not like that. It's you break up and you respite.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Okay,
like, you take the time you need and then go forward. There's a societal norm that men tend to value virginity. Yeah. What do you think about this?
So I've heard this being said, and I get from a religious standpoint, but come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like if we have to be serious, come on, bro. Like, the level of the most experienced, or the level of experience, in the experience category, to no experience, it's so vast, that it doesn't make sense to have no experience. Unless you're both on a journey of no experience, as we've said before.
So do you feel like women who have no experience are what?
I just feel like...
Do you think it says something about them?
Nah, see, that's the thing. I don't necessarily think about the individual in that way to say that, because a person is less experienced, that there's a deficit or something like that in it. I don't see it like that.
Okay, quick intercession.
Yeah.
Do you feel like someone with a high number of bodies, that says something about them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, a person with a low amount, it does say something about them, but it's kind of like, I don't view it in a bad way. Especially when it comes from females. I've got that double standard, I must say. I feel like when it comes to females having a low number, I just think that you're kind of chaste. Maybe you grew up in a religious environment. Even if you didn't, I'll just be thinking, okay, you're very careful. Maybe someone told you some stories about sex and boys, you know what I'm saying? And you've taken that on board throughout life, so you're very careful about kind of who you let off to. I wouldn't see it as a massive thing. But I think on the other spectrum, someone who slept with loads of people, I kind of see it like, when do you lose the joy of this? Like, when does it just become an act? Do you know what I'm saying? Because somebody who hasn't had it, they've got all the world to look forward to. They're going to have somebody who does it and they don't really like it. The first time is probably not going to be the greatest time. You're going to have to get through a decent amount of barriers. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's stuff that's going to go on the first time, but you can look forward to the second time if the person like kind of makes you feel like warm and fuzzy and keeps you comfortable and doesn't judge you about the fact that it's your first time and all the rest of it. You've got more time to look up to stuff. You're like, did this thing happen? All right, cool. If I jump into another sexual relationship, like it might be better, it might be worse, but I'm still finding out about this. For somebody who's done it like a million times, bro, like what we saying? You're teaching me.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to this thing where
even if
because you have a lot of sexual partners doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing, yeah. But that's even more disappointing. So either way, I'm going to be disappointed. If you've got a huge number behind you and you don't know what you're doing, that's disappointing. Do you know what I'm saying?
That is disappointing.
And if you've got a huge amount of numbers, and you do know what you're doing, we judge you for it anyway.
Yeah.
And your anatomy is different.
What do you mean?
If you've been run through, we talking about a very loose elastic band.
I love that you said that because I bought this. I want to bring this up so bad, innit? Because there are a lot of myths around that. And I think those type of things perpetuate how men see women.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
that,
yeah, no, definitely.
So,
I mean, I do believe that there are some myths,
yeah.
but you can get stretch out.
So,
Or do you disagree? Oh well, let's go to the science.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, education. Classes in session.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, innit? Like, hello class, my name is Mr. Apple, and I'll be taking your class on myths today. So
let's go.
Okay, so there's no evidence that sex causes the loosening of vagina over time.
It's more to do with childbirth, isn't it?
So childbirth can, in the sense that you get tearing, tearing and stuff. Dilation is for the cervix, so that allows the uterus to, like an opening for the uterus for the head to come out, down the vaginal canal and out. So, but some of the things that can lead to is like tearing, especially significant grade 2s, grade 3s, where they need suturing and stuff. You might find that happens. But in terms of sexual intercourse, it doesn't matter how big Willy Wonka is in it.
Let's say Willy Wonka, yo.
It doesn't matter. So the way it was explained is, you see how that your mouth opens wide when you're yawning.
Yeah.
But then returns to base.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Okay.
Right? So it opens to accommodate, stretches if it needs to, and then returns to base.
Is there any research to say that the more it practices stretching, the more wider it can go? No.
There's no evidence that.
Oh. That's mad.
Time. Yeah.
Because I would always think that, you know, like exercise, you expand and contract, yeah? And then through the longer lengthening, you get more muscle activation, right? So I would think that would be the same, but clearly not.
Yeah,
that's
and this is what I'm saying. So there's a lot of us have been told that, you know, Bucket Becky and all the rest of it, and so that's why I feel like it's important.
Hallway Haley in that.
I said Hallway Haley. Yo, that's crazy. So there are other things as well. So things like the rupturing of a hymen. So you, as a woman, you can rupture your hymen playing with yourself, or if you ride a bike or horseback riding, you can not temporary. You can break your hymen doing that. Yeah, this idea that if you're a virgin, then you need to like bleed the first time. Yeah, that's also not true. It happens for some women, but it doesn't happen for all of them. So I think that this information really needs to be out there, because a lot of people tend to judge women by these things. And especially if you live in a strict religious society where somebody's saying, but she didn't, like, oh man, like she didn't bleed after the first time. Like, I'm worried that she's lying about her virginity. That's crazy. So now you're bringing this accusation because you're ignorant and you don't know.
No facts.
And so there are some people who also pay for like what's called a hymenoplasty, which is trying to put the hymen back.
Okay.
The last time I checked, it was like around £5,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, because of my work, they've actually taken the procedure off our coding system.
Okay.
Because they say that it's not a procedure that should be done at all.
Oh, man.
It doesn't mean anything. It's not supposed to be done. So if you do it on the NHS, like, you can be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, man.
So it's not something that's done. And again, these some people would pay to have it done because culturally it might mean something to their partners and whatever.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That this conversation about whether or not it can be fun, but there are serious like implications for women in certain countries where the men have imposed this rule, but haven't taken the time
to study,
to understand what it truly means. That's a horrible way to be judged.
Yeah.
And so as men, I think if we're gonna invoke standard, then we should at least take the time to understand the background knowledge around these things.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, look,
What are you saying? You think body count matters?
I'm gonna sit on the fence and say that it does and it doesn't.
Okay.
Right. So I think that there's a number that once you get to, you're like, wow, that is a lot, and I wonder why it's a lot.
Okay.
But for the most part, I don't care. Like, I don't want. I've said this before. I think that as a man, you should go through experiences that turn you into an adult, and one of those things is sex.
Yeah.
Like to have some level of understanding what it means to make a woman comfortable, what it means to work on your own performance, and to create an environment where you both enjoy what you're doing, hopefully, and for me, within the wider context of a long-term relationship. I think that is the best way, one, to learn, two, because it latches onto other things that you're building.
Sure.
And so that's how I feel about it. I think random casual things where you're doing it and you're enjoyed in the moment, but it doesn't tether onto anything and you feel no different afterwards.
Yeah.
I just think that it's like scratching an itch. And so I'm not here to say like, yeah, don't scratch the itch. But I'm just saying that it might be more beneficial and you might find it more meaningful to latch on to, I hate the word latch. It might be more meaningful to do it within the context where you are having love and affection and other things, as well as just
to get all the benefits rather than just
some of it.
Yeah.
And I think that is true for men as it is true for women. You can build up sexual competency by being in long-term relationships. So this idea that men always have to run and collect bodies like they're Pokemon balls, I think is a misguided one. I think there is something to being craved for women to want you. That's different.
Yeah.
And so I would say work on the skills as a man that make you that man.
I think
where you come into a room and you're confident and you have competencies, so women find you attractive. But that doesn't mean that because all of these women find you attractive, you sleep with all of these women. That means you got no control.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's
like a wild beast.
I think it's wild, isn't it? I think there's I don't know. It's a weird one for me because I think that single people should do what single people do. Yeah. And that is to be single. And also, I think if you're someone who wants a relationship, then you're going to have to try and get into a relationship. Do you know what I'm saying? And that may lead to you being a tad bit more promiscuous. Yeah. Because you're trying to find the person that you want to be with. And no doubt, you know, we're saying long-term relationships. What do you class as a long-term relationship? What, like 5 years, 3 years?
I'd say anything over 3 years.
Yeah. So basically, when you think about people getting into a relationship, yeah, if they spend a year with somebody, I would think, yeah, unless you're not a promiscuous person, yeah, you're probably gonna end up having sex at least once. I'd
for a year.
Yeah, for a year, at least once.
Do you think men would date women who put these kind of impositions? I remember when Steve Harvey's book came out.
Yeah.
What was it? Make 'em wait or something like. I can't remember what the book was called. And he advocated for women waiting.
Yeah.
A while, and some men were like, "You could try and make me wait, but I'm gonna be off somewhere else until you."
I think guys overestimate themselves, yeah, when they are single, and I think that there is something to making a guy wait, but you got to understand the signs and the thresholds. Do you know what I'm saying? Some men can't wait a year, and they're not going to. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're Laurie Harvey or you're Nia Long. Yeah, like they're just not waiting a year. Yeah, there's other men who will. you know, they don't mind waiting a year. They know that the reward after the year is gonna be sweet. Now, I think you'd have a bit of an issue if you let off after a year and then you was like, okay, yeah, cool, wait another year to the next time that I let off. I think the guy's gonna be like, yo, listen.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
1 year intervals.
Yeah, 1 year interview.
I also want to just point out that making a man wait it's not the same as keeping a man.
Yeah.
So if you're making a man wait, it should be because you're trying to figure out what the context of the relationship is without the sexual component. Yeah. So does this person have self-mastery to not do it? Does this person respect your wishes and your boundaries? Does this person have fun activities to do that stimulate the both of you without sex? Can you be intimate with each other without the sexual component? Those things are what postponing for, whether it's 6 months, whether it's a year, whether it's until marriage. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to detach the notion that because you've made them wait, that is a signal that they're going to remain with you, because that is untrue. Some men, because you've made them wait, they're just like, listen, I am invested in this, but once this has been one hell of a journey. And once I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah, especially I think you run the risk, especially in the talking stages, because that person has no commitment to you whatsoever. They're just trying to get to know you. So if they've got like 5 other girls on the go, or like 2 other girls, or even 1 other girl on the go, and that person is willing to have the same banter as you, chat to them, do you know what I'm saying, give them the time of day, but is also willing to let off, then to a guy who wants to have sex, like, it's a no-brainer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even a decision that he's gonna give 20 seconds worth of his thought. The likelihood is he's gonna go with the person who's gonna let off. Like, you got 2 exact people, and one person wants to have sex and one of them doesn't. He's probably gonna go with the one that wants to have sex.
Of course, because it's enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you know, people just need to be a little bit aware of that. I'm not saying that, you know, men who don't want to have sex, who want to be chased, aren't out there. But I think, as you said, there's a difference between making somebody wait for an actual purposeful gain, you know, and then making somebody wait just because you believe that you have the power to make somebody wait, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you think having a body count matters?
Yeah, I do. I have to be honest. I think that when you talk about body count, like, for me, yeah, I don't really care, in it. Like, I can put body count behind me, yeah, at a certain number. But once it goes past a certain number, I'm kind of just sitting there like, okay, so let me just think about this, yeah, and quarterback this. You decide to have sex with things, and I think it gets deeper the more you understand the person, or, you know, you might get like, let's say that you've been with someone for 2 years, yeah, you're gonna find out about at least one of their ex-partners, yeah. I find it quite rare that people don't ever talk about anybody that they've ever been with, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna speak about at least one person, and if they speak about at least one person, you're gonna think about the traits of that person and link it to the fact that that person had sex with them, like, especially if that person's been with that person for a year or 2 years, yeah. The notion that somebody would be with someone for 2 years in a committed relationship and not have sex doesn't cross our minds as a culture. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially in London, even though we have one of the smaller averages, yeah. So people are gonna try and link that. You know, they're gonna be like, okay, cool. You know, and then you play games like I have never, or you ask questions, and you get a little bit of an inkling of what's going on in it. And if the number was disclosed as a 20 or above, yeah, you're gonna start to link, okay, but yeah, okay, so, oh, you see that time when you said, you've had sex in a lift before, was it with this guy? Do you get what I'm saying? You start to try and piece stuff together, and then it gets techie.
Turn into detective Columbo.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, like, and especially if you're quite a protective person, it's like, who you talking to, if the person has male best friends as well.
But see, that gets over, like,
yeah,
it
does, but
and I think also it's one of those things where you end up looking like you're not a mature person.
Yeah. But then that is something that can be fueled by the number of bodies. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, if it was like 2 people, the likelihood that anybody would find it immature if he was doing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But if your girl had 50 bodies, would
but
you
then
still...
the follow up question is, did you cheat on any of your partners?
Yeah.
Because that is the instance that would put me on more of a defensive
edge.
Yeah,
so what
edge.
if they said, yeah, but I was 13?
Yeah, or
You kind of let go.
Cheating, like, yeah.
Even with 50 partners.
Yeah, you're young. Like, so even if it was 50 partners, yeah, I 50 is a lot of people. It's a lot, like that's bigger than a classroom.
Yeah, but some guys claim to have smashed 100 of things. Now we know that guys kind of exaggerate, but you know.
Yeah, and also it is what it is. Like, if you smashed 100 people, like, you're poor, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know what else to say.
But then what if the person says, I believe it's a tiny bit more complex, because what if the person says, yeah, I was younger, I was immature, I've changed.
Yeah, but
look at Brittany Renner.
But that's what happens. Most of the time, you're most attractive when you're young.
Yeah.
And being attractive can be a weapon that you don't know how to control, and that can lead to you having multiple partners and being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Often. I'm not saying that everybody who has large bodies has been taken advantage of. Some of it may have been on a conquest.
Yeah.
There's certain people who say, like we mentioned Angela White before, she's been on a bunch of podcasts saying that she knew very early on that she was drawn to sex and sexuality, and that she found girls attractive and she found men attractive, and she knew that that was something that she wanted to explore.
Yeah.
She also talks about wanting to, after she's finished her career, she wants to go and do some sort of degree in and around the subject. So so there are people like that live among us.
Yeah.
Where man said live among us, like there's some zombie class in it, but I don't mean to be disrespectful like that. But there are people who have a large appetite. And because they're pretty or because they're handsome or whatever, they get access to those number of people. And so their body count just rises and rises and rises. But my thing is, and I don't know why it is, but I feel like there are certain moments of your life.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that maturity is a thing. And I believe that as you get older, certain habits should fall away. And for me, one of those things is promiscuity. I think that as you get older, your promiscuity should fall away. One, because you are becoming more sophisticated in dealing with the opposite sex and sex as a whole. And two, because you should have learned about yourself in those environments, and that should help you craft more healthy relationships. Now, obviously, it doesn't always work. Yeah. But that is the goal. So
if
virtue.
that was the case, would you be able to overlook the number? What's your number that you're like, nah?
I wouldn't ask, and it's a bit redundant for me because I have my partner.
Yeah.
And my partner doesn't have a lot of body.
Do you think it makes a difference whether the person brags about it or not? So that if you had somebody who was like, all right, if 20 was your cap here, if someone had 23 bodies and was like, I have 23 bodies, like, I love the fact that I've had 23, like, look at me, like, 23. Do you know what I'm saying? Would that be grotesque to you in any way?
It would be the immaturity around wearing how many people you had as a badge of honor.
Sure.
As opposed to the number itself.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So your attitude to casual sex, or however you've attained those 20-something bodies, for me, it would be more about like your decorum around those issues. Because again, at this maybe if I was a younger person, it wouldn't bother me.
You, yeah.
But as somebody who's like moving into the next epoch of their life, I respect maturity a lot more than I did when I was younger. And so I respect mature conduct as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so to me, it's the behavior more than the actual number. So like I say, my number is probably very high, but it doesn't matter. I could say 50 at this moment in time because my wife doesn't have 50 bodies.
Yeah, I hear you.
So this
I know brothers that wouldn't go past 5.
I know.
Yeah.
That's their prerogative.
When you think about it, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Given the fact that that's what our average.
Yeah, so let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2018,
Yeah.
A survey of over 2,000 people done by European Digital Health Service found that 3 partners was the ideal.
Okay.
Men in their 20s saw 7 or more partners being too high.
See, that's mad.
For a woman. Women in their 20s gave a little more wiggle room, labeling 10 or more partners as too high. Is 10 too high? I'm really thinking about this now, you know. This is mad.
But this is what I'm saying. But I feel like a lot of men war with themselves about this. They're like, what, 15? Ah, but she's lame though. 15,
see, but I'm saying
they do stuff like 15's all right. Then
Bro,
speak to their boy. Like 15.
A lot of the guys who are preaching chastity for women are banging OnlyFans girls and strippers and prostitutes and people who have high body counts. Sorry, they just are.
Yeah.
And so they might be in a worse position than me because they're actually like, I've never had somebody with a really high body count.
But then do you think it also depends on success?
How do you mean?
So like, for example, if you're a musician heavily fueled by the way that people view you, the way that you look, you start to make money. You could use Drake as an example.
Yeah.
You know, you start to focus on your aesthetic. Do you think that you would allow for a higher body count? So for
Drake has a kid with a porn actress.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think the women that you come into contact with, them, yeah.
But remember, we're working on an average here. So the acting industry, for example, 20 might be a minor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? 20 might be.
It is interesting because I do wonder if women in the industry,
in the porn industry or in
in like the entertainment industry, do they have numbers commensurate with men in the industry? So let's give an example.
Probably not.
Do you think that Nicki Minaj has similar bodies to Drake?
No. I don't think so.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
but it still may be higher than the average woman, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what the accounting really is. It's kind of like, okay, when we talk about the average, who is pushing the average up? Because actually, you know, like for example, we're saying,
but it must be men, no?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but that 7 or 8 or whatever we have as a number, actually the average Joe blogs like me and you might actually be on 4.
See, that's what I'm saying. Because remember, I told you
might be the actors who are.
Remember,
on
I told you that the first one I read was around 6.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 6?
Yeah,
around
6 to
6.
7. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was actually like 4 to 6, and that may be more reflective. Because if you're doing again, we don't really know the sample size. Who did they sample? What kind of walks of life did they do?
Issues
so
of
if you have like 3 or 4 escorts in that survey, it's gonna push the average up. It's just like if Bill Gates walked into a tennis match and sat down, the average wealth of everybody increases because he's sitting there. So there is that to contend with. So I don't know the number. I think I've just come to that conclusion. I don't know the number. I'd have to hear it. A woman say it. Yeah. And like being totally honest, because like I say, I've never had a relationship or even casual sex with somebody who's had, well, casual sex, I probably wouldn't know. I'm not a massive advocate of casual sex anyway. I prefer it within the context of a relationship. So, I don't think I had any woman that I dated and slept with. I don't think it's been over 10. I don't think it's been over 10.
Mad.
So, but again, my last like relationship or whatever it was was 18 years ago.
Yeah. I hear you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So it's just,
and that's why I think, you know, and also it'll be interesting to know when the survey was from.
this survey is from 2018.
Yeah, so 2018, you know, we're a decent bit behind. You know what I'm saying? We're a decent bit behind.
Yeah.
I think life has changed a lot. I mean, 2018, did we have the introduction of Tinder?
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So you know, the massive marketing or, you know, kind of online presence of dating apps
And hookup culture,
and hookup culture has changed the game significantly. So it'll be interesting to find it out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you lead yourself into, you know, this kind of tomb of destruction, isn't it? When you start talking about body counts. Do you know what I'm saying? I think the best way is just to kind of just leave it. Like, if you have an inkling, yeah, that your partner has slept with loads and loads and loads of people and it's bothering you, it's probably just not the person for you.
And the thing is, there's actually no way to verify.
Yeah.
Like unless your partner has had a previous career in the adult industry,
Yeah.
or unless she is very well known on the ends, there's no way to know.
Yeah.
If you say to your partner or your girlfriend, your fiance, it will start off as your girlfriend, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's just take that. If you say to your girlfriend, yo, I just want to ask, like, how many bodies do you have? And she says 4. And it's 44.
Yeah, you won't know.
How do you know? You don't know.
But
So like women could lie, men, most definitely, men could lie.
Do you reckon there's ever an instance where a female would lie and push her body count up?
I think if she was maybe inexperienced and eager to impress, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
But
okay, yeah.
For me, I'm not ever gonna lie. That'll be a red flag.
Yeah.
Why are you lying about that? If you start lying about your body count, like you're
that's
gonna
wild.
lie
Yeah,
about
yeah.
everything
everything else? Yeah, and it's so irrelevant.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
me personally. Anyway.
Yeah, to push it
But
up
yeah.
as well. It's just like, we'll get there. Don't worry. Just,
Yeah.
you know.
I just think to myself that generally, I think I'm just in the thing. Don't ask if you don't want to get hurt. Do you get what I'm saying? And you know you're a sensitive person, just don't ask. If you got thick skin, I'd say like do your thing in it. But it may turn into a conversation that you're not really
even
ready
that
to have.
thick skin. It might get grazed.
Yeah, bro. As I said, yeah, bro. You never know. Sometimes the stories start coming out, and you're like, wait, run that one back. You did what? Do you know what I'm saying? So I would veer away from it if I was you. As you said, if you're stepping out in it, you're on a little, don't know, Nando's day, or you push uptown and do a little Ivy Asia, and then everybody's like, yo, and it's just all man them. You might want to ask some questions. But yeah, I think generally my rule of thumb would just be like, leave it out. Do you know what I'm saying? But if somebody asked me, I would tell somebody what my body count was, and I would be truthful, and I would ask them back. I think it's only fair that we level the playing field.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's something that kind of causes a lot of problems. I generally feel like, I know we've had a conversation about it today, but I generally feel like it's blown out of proportion because most people don't really care.
Yeah. Would you ask back though? If someone asked you?
I would first ask them, do you really want to know?
Fair enough.
And then if they said yeah, then I would tell them.
All right.
Mine's not significant, but it might be a problem for some people, some women.
Fair enough.
But for me, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. I don't want to know. Like, I'm knowing you. I'm getting to know you, and as long as you don't have a reputation in the street, thing. And women can judge me for that and say like, "Well, aren't you strong enough to
deal with it?"
Deal with that. It's like, no.
I'm a bit like that. I mean, to be honest, I'm just like, this sounds like, like when they put the handcuffs on you and they read you your Miranda rights, isn't it? Yeah. That's how I feel like it is, isn't it? It's kind of like, I read you your Miranda rights, isn't it? Like, anything you do say, may harm you in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. Like, yeah. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but there's no problem until there's actually a problem, innit? And then, people start being shady with the numbers, you know what I'm saying? You say something and it's like, yeah, well, maybe, I don't know, you're having a bad performance day, and she actually tells you in it that they were like, oh, well, maybe if you hadn't slept with like 40 people, do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Then it's kind of like, yo, did you say that? And then it's like, oh, what? Oh, yeah, just because you're unexperienced, and it's like, oh, my heart, do you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, it can get weaponized as well.
Yeah. So you just gotta be careful.
Yeah, just everyone shut your mouth. Serious. So in 2017, Superdrug, it's not just a place that you go for your last minute fragrance boxes. Said men put the limit at 14. So this was in 2017.
Okay.
Said that men put a limit on 14 sexual partners maximum, and women drew the line at 15. Moreover, men saw fewer than 3 partners as too low. Women thought less than 2 sexual partners was too low. So this is interesting because this Superdrug thing, the numbers seem to be much higher than the 2018 survey.
And it was a year before.
Yeah. However, we don't know who was polled and where they came from. However, what's interesting to me is that men have a too low. The men interviewed in that survey had a too low category.
That doesn't surprise me, no?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying because of the backdrop of like, oh, we're talking. We originally started talking about
men
like,
want chaste women.
Yeah. And then when you actually are surveying them, it seems like men actually want some level of experience.
Well, men are very logical beings, isn't it? You know, so
some of them,
to some degree, innit? We always have this kind of debate about emotional and logical, innit?
Yeah.
And I think that logically, any man knows that a woman with 0 experience, bro, like, let's face it, like, we're all trying to to get the most pleasure that we can get and please another person to get the most pleasure that they can get. To me, unless you're talking about procreation and just for the science of it, that's what we'd be trying to do, innit?
Yeah.
So what is the probability that the first time that somebody ever has sexual intercourse, they're gonna make your pleasure scale absolutely crazy?
They're gonna knock it out of the park.
Yeah, you're just gonna be like, why would I take that risk?
Yeah, they're gonna be nervous.
Yeah, so
they're gonna want to impress, but yeah.
And I think that's why we have a number that's too low. Yeah,
that makes sense. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about any of the topics discussed. Subscribe, like, share, all of that good stuff. And until the next time, my name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And we've been the family.
Bow.